Okay, and there we go. This should take us live on YouTube. And I'll just confirm that. I've been having little video problems today. There we go. Thank you everyone for joining us today for Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group. We meet every week at 4:30 Pacific time and have been for the last 7 years. We started doing this through Google Hangout. Oh yeah, we've been up here for a long time. We started doing this before the pandemic. So my name is Mark Monlux. I live in Tacoma, Washington. I've been a professional illustrator since 1985. And today I'm working on yet another card in a deck of cards featuring old obscure movie monsters. Let's go by order of appearance. Virginia, you were the next person I added into the room.
Okay, so I live in Seattle, on the fossil side of, and I'm sorry, I had a stroke recently, and I don't talk very well, so anyway, I just started drawing about 2 years ago, in response to, I don't know, I just thought I would draw, and I've been drawing ever since.
Terrific. Bill, you're next.
I am Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator working out of Seattle, Washington, and I mostly do a webcomic called Rhapsodies, but today I'm working on a thumbnail for my first mermaid collection, mermaid time-lapse video.
Now, Bill, explain for our viewers what mermaid is.
Mermaid is an annual art challenge, which a lot of cartoonists, illustrators, and animators do, where the object is to do one mermaid a day for the month of May. And I usually use this as an excuse to do some hardcore push-ups on my watercolors before I visit my parents in Maine, where I usually do a landscape marathon.
Katie, you're next. Oh,
Hi,
sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Bill, do you need to finish?
I think that's about it.
Okay. Hi, this is Katie C. I am a writer and artist from Bonnie Lake, Washington. I can be found on Instagram at Evil Girlfriend Media. My favorite medium is acrylic. Today, I'm going to be working on a couple different pieces. I am doing a Sam from Trick or Treat with and without his mask. And I'm doing a technique that I really enjoy doing and I haven't done in a while, which is texturing and layering the picture. So there's going to be a lot of texture in this. So I need to just move it off of here and let it dry. So I'm going to be working on a couple different pieces. I'll be shifting around. I wanted to show what I finished it last week, because when I started it last week, it didn't look like anything, but here is my little ghoulie I finished from last week.
Now, did you make his mouth wider?
I didn't, but I did actually. I rebalanced his mouth a little bit, because I have two different pictures. I have the one that says nice butt, and then this one that tells you to flush your toilet. So there's two of them now. This is, I might do a third one. Tim is encouraging me to do a third one because he thinks these will sell on Friday. Just because, you know, there's a lot of people who like toilet humor, and this is like the perfect bathroom art. So we'll see.
I think Tim is right. I think that I think all three of them would sell. Virginia, you were getting ready to hold up something.
No, I was just during my pages.
Okay. Well, I'll set up the computer to do a screen share. And I thought I might share what I'm working on. And then I'd like to see some of Bill's watercolors. Let's see. So this is from a 1950 horror movie called The She Creature. Apparently, imagine instead of a werewolf, a woman who is a crustration, or she basically devolves into the equivalent of something from the Croatian era, this kind of large shellfish looking man type thing. But it's got red lips and I need to tone down the red nose and the stuff that I always thought to be a hard shell with just streaks in it is supposed to be like hair combed back, I guess, because I'm just noticing now.
Are you using a different brush here? That looks more, the outlines look softer than normal.
I am using a slightly different brush. What I did was I'm using, oh, someone is texting me. I'm just a moment. I'm gonna check that out. My next door neighbor is showing me pictures of. I introduced him to Pokemon Go about a month ago because we go on walks, and now he's texting me every time he catches a new Pokemon that he doesn't have in his arsenal. He's got to tell me about it. Okay, so what I did is I saw that in script. So if you go to script and then you go, you go up to not script, what is it? Normally I like to use an inking brush, but in this case, I went to calligraphy. Then I went to script, and if you click on the script, if you go to stabilization, and if you change the amount to 50% on stabilization and put everything else down to 0, what you get now is a new stroke. And I'll do this on the, whoops, that's my photo reference. I'll do this stroke over here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And so I'll increase the size. The sensitivity, the thick and thin is, it has the same control as other things. I mean, I still use a smaller brush size. But when I do the stroke, why isn't it? Oh, I got the eraser going now. I'll do another darker color. But it has this control where when you're doing a curve, rather than being old jiggly like that, you know, because it has, you see the lag where is kind of trying to make up its mind which way to go. And it really allows for a much smoother stroke, but it also allows you to do a thick thin. So I like the fact that I get that beautiful thick thin look, and my lines look less even, though not as consistently even. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off screen share because I'm making hand gestures and you can't see my very instructive hand gestures. So I really like the thick thin that you can get with a brush stroke, and I had been losing some of that. So once I saw this YouTube video for this, I thought, I'm going to give that a try. And I really like it as a brush stroke. I find myself not going back and retrying the same brush over and over. It feels I'm more confident in making it do it just once, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so I'm glad you noticed, Bill. Would you say it was an improvement? Or would you say it's just different?
Different at the moment, and considering it looks like there was some stuff that the guidelines hadn't been deleted yet, turned off yet. It was kind of in the too soon to tell stage.
Oh, you mean on my background sketch?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm still working on. I could delete that and show it off to you, but I'm still in the coloring phases. I'll do an update a little later on. So, how many days are you ahead on your mermaid?
At the moment, just technically, well, I mean, I'm 7 ahead because I started early because of Patreon, but on that standard, I'm only 2 ahead as far as posting things on Patreon is concerned. But so far, it's coming along nicely. For example, here was yesterday's deep sea.
Hold it up closer to the camera, Bill, please. I'd like to see more detail on her. So what is she investigating down at the bottom?
No
idea. Or is she just, so she's just going down deeper and deeper.
Yeah, but it answered the question on how I would do what I'm doing tonight's drawing, which is sunrise, which I was sort of confused about, but I came up with an idea of doing something a little less generic, where that picture will take place right after this, where she found some sunken monitors. No, don't ask about how that's possible or not, which are playing a sunrise.
Oh, I thought you'd be having her going up out of the dark to what's a sunrise, what would look like a sunrise with the sun being up above her head. But that's just as cute of an idea.
Yeah. Oh, it's rather fun. If you want cute, I do time lapses of these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, do a screen share.
Where is it? I haven't scanned it yet. This is just the time lapse. But the reason I'm calling this one cute is I've been house sitting for the last week, and wait a minute. Let's see. Is it? So you'll get a kick out of this one. Oh dear, this is embarrassing. Didn't, okay, back. This is cute. With any luck, keep an eye on it because this is fun. Because essentially, with the house sitting, because the cat that I'm taking care of right now started getting just a little too sociable in a couple of seconds. There.
Okay. Now, Bill, will your camera not record when it's sideways, or do you
Well, there's a
prefer?
lot of, yeah, it does, and you have to correct it, but there's so much empty space on both sides when you're doing a vertical item, why bother?
That's true. Well, thank you for sharing that, Bill.
Problem. Yeah, I mean, while I was not amused at the time, it was kind of funny. She almost knocked over the camera.
What were you using for a stand?
Oh, along with the one that I have for the that I have for my I think the one I have for my drawing room table, which isn't very practical and not very portable, but because I knew I'd be traveling, I picked up this one that is a lot more portable.
Oh yeah, and it looks fairly stable too.
Yes, I also used it to today because the holder on on the cheap tripod I had broke on the other one. So this one also stands up enough that it replaces the tripod until I get a proper industry type tripod for.
Now, does the base swivel or just the top? Does the base swivel at all or just the top?
It's sort of a little, yeah, a bit. Come on.
Oh, that's nice. I could see that being extremely useful.
Yeah, and I made a carrying bag for it for when I'm on the trip.
Nice. Did you hand sew that together or do you have a sewing machine?
This one I hand sewed, but I have access to a sewing machine now, but this one came out nice. It's funny. I'm always reluctant to throw away bulk dish rags, and every now and again, a project like this makes that eccentricity pay off.
Virginia, what's the medium are you using? Are you using watercolors or
Yes.
you are?
Yeah. I like watercolors.
Yeah, they're my primary non-virtual medium these days. As I was sort of just saying and showing.
I tried acrylic, but I might be too slow. So
I never
got into it.
I know the feeling. For me, it always dried too quickly.
Yeah. And then you can't fix it like watercolor sometimes.
Well,
That's so fascinating that you guys say that, because I kind of feel the exact same way about watercolors, but not about acrylic. Because I'm like, I can't fix my watercolor if I mess it up. And I'm like,
I,
it dries too slow.
that's why we consider paint hair dryers as an art tool.
I have so much to do that it's like this is, because you have to layer this. I found that, you can mix the color, but the effect of painting this, using the modeling paste and then painting over the modeling paste, it's two different effects that you get. You can either blend the modeling paste with the paint, or just, kind of sculpt what you want on the canvas and then paint over it. And I think for this particular type of picture, that the painting over the modeling paste is going to work out better for me. It's always funny, Bill, too, because it's Mermaid, but I always have Texas Frightmare in May. So I don't have time for mermaids. I'm doing like all of my extra special work. But I always I like mermaids. And I'm like,
Yeah,
one of these
because
days I'll do a mermaid.
yeah, it's fun because I have a whole cast of them, and I haven't decided, and I definitely want to do more with them than just mermaid. Though at the moment I'm not sure what. So which in this case my ambition with them. I sort of have some notes for doing a comic, but it wouldn't. But I really haven't had any real story idea unless I do it in a kind of gag a day format with the cast I have doing silly things.
Oh,
Well, you can always do a calendar.
Calendar would be good. I've been thinking greeting cards.
Greeting cards would be good. Especially if you did like a pack of them.
Yeah.
Like if you did Moo does one pattern on one side, and you can do up to 25 patterns on the other one in a single order.
Okay.
And they're a nice thick card. They're what I do my horror movie bingo cards on. And
I think I've heard you recommend them before, but remind me, is it MU or MOO?
MOO.com.
Okay.
But yeah, then you could sell a whole pack of them for like, I usually sell a pack of 25 for $20.
Ooh, that would work.
And what I do is I sell them in lots of, I do 4 for $8, 8 for 10, 12 for $12, and the full set of 25 for 20. And I even use a place called Clear Bags. And I have bags that are the same, that are just a little bit bigger than the postcards. So one of these bags can hold 25 of them just barely. But it will easily take less than that. So they're a nice clear bag with a nice little Ziploc, because I was just using quart Ziploc bags, but I think this is slightly nicer. Because they don't say things like Glad or freezer bag on them.
No. Oh, and speaking of you liking Mermaid Kate, this one you'll like. This was this one was for the prompt horror.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Nice and ghostly.
Yeah, because I always like that stuff like Disney aside, in a lot of the folk tales, the mermaids are the first ones to pull you under.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I want to do, oh, Bill, I'd like to do a screen share.
Okay.
Since this is May, last week was May the 4th.
Yes.
And so I'm going to do I'd like to do a time lapse of the drawing I did for May 4th. So I'll show you my time lapse in just a sec. Share screen. So here is the time lapse drawing.
Oh, cool.
Now, I don't know if you guys recognize this robot, but there's a film that came out in the 70s at the same time, just maybe a year or two before Star Wars did, called Silent Running. And it had 3 robots in it that were nicknamed Huey, Louie, and Dewey. And Silent Running is that it had starred Bruce Dern, and it was a movie that had a message behind it, and I really liked Silent. Joan Baez sang the theme song, so I thought it'd be fun to put that particular droid in with the
So what?
Jabba, yeah, and see just who would catch on and recognize as something other than a Star Wars droid. So that's my. This is the first time I've done a May 4th drawing in years, because I'll do a drawing and then I'll just use it for years.
Yeah, same here. And admittedly, most of my past May the 4th ones have been mermaid related, because it's inevitably always the 4th prompt. Just once, I wish they'd do Alice in Wonderland that day.
I thought it was very nice that they gave, was it on May 4th that they gave Carrie Fisher her Walk of Fame?
Yes. That was.
That was nice.
How much space do they have left on that sidewalk?
It's not just on one street, it's on multiple streets.
Uh-huh.
And they do retire some stars when they have to do road work and what have you. But they've got stars for people that are in film, television, and radio. So there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And some of them get damaged over time. But I would love just to go down but there's hundreds of them. I think there's like 4 miles worth. Bill, are there any little, I noticed that when you use watercolors, you don't use any type of liquid frisket. Have you ever done that in the past to keep a white space going or to go back? Or
I generally just plan ahead and don't paint those spots. But yes, you're right. I should look into getting some for some more complex pieces.
well, I was just kind of curious if you even did that.
Not yet, no.
Virginia, when you said you've only recently started, certainly you must have painted some in the past. Or
Well, I doodle. I would doodle all the time on things, and then I guess, yeah, it was about like 2 or 3 years ago that I just, and then I started out, you know, Silver Kite, the people that do art for masses, they're anyway, they would do art things for the library.
yes,
And when I did that, I went to 2 of them, and then I thought, wow. And then, of course, then the pandemic started, and they started doing them online. And so I would do a lot. And I thought, well, I don't need to just do her paintings. I want to do them. And so that's what I did. then I started out with I started off with acrylics, but like you said, it dries not it's too dry. So
I used to use gouache a great deal.
mhm.
And but the main reason I liked using gouache was because I would mainly do large fields of flat color with gouache. And then I would work on cold press board, which has a bit of a tooth to it.
Mhm.
And then I'd be able to do some colored pencil over the gouache. And gouache will take colored pencil over
Really?
the top of it.
Okay. Well, see, I have watched. I just don't know what to do with it. So now I'll try that.
Well, I do recommend that you use a board rather than loose paper
Okay.
and something that's got, that has a tooth, because the difference between cold press and hot press
Mhm.
is literally the rollers in a hot press are hot and they make the paper slick. So if you're doing something with say a calligraphy pen or with a pen tip and you want a nice smooth edge,
Mhm.
you want a nice smooth paper, so you'll use a hot press board. But if you're doing something that you're going to be painting on, or you want some pencil, or you're going to be doing charcoal, you want the paper to have a little bit of a texture. So you look for a cold press board. And so I think they also have cold pressed paper, but I tend to put on a lot of water, and I don't like my paintings to buckle. I want them to be nice and straight and flat.
Mhm.
So that's what I used to do. But
Now you do.
I do almost everything digitally now.
Yeah, I was going to say a bunch of people. One of the things I do is these. Okay, it's called Artful Explorers now, but it used to be. I these are their names, the New York City Sketchers. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I started with them, and because I wanted to paint and just have an idea, not, yeah, they would make an all of ideas, and then you would paint whatever you wanted. And so I started with them, and they, I forgot what I was saying, sorry. So anyway, yeah, I started with them, and I'm still doing them, but not as, it's a little early in the morning on Saturdays sometimes.
Yeah, I love to sleep in on Saturdays. And Bill, what happened at the Freelance Fandango on Sunday? Because I was busy. My wife was having me, we're doing a lot of spring cleaning right now, and we slept in, and by the time I realized it was time, we had already that Freelance Fandango was going on. I
It was a
busy.
pretty quiet one, but nice. Essentially, a lot of people talking about media and whether and the subject, which I unintentionally started, about giving your work as presents.
Ah. When the host of that group, James Stowe, actually started this group too. I did a present for him for his 40th birthday. I did a portrait of him. I wonder if I have that still. It was an Illustrator, in Adobe Illustrator. And I did it was basically a caricature. And I think he printed it out and put it up on his wall. In recent years, every time I come out with a new product, my siblings say, "Oh, I'd love to have one of those," meaning, when my birthday comes around, you can give that to me.
Though actually, I have to say that this was this particular one was a case of where a friend had a birthday, and I didn't have an idea, but I remembered he liked Klingon, so figured I have some paper that I'm not using, so I did a picture of him as a Klingon. But at one level, I found a bit of this really good because for the most part, even though I know exactly how good I am at watercolor, I generally, because I usually use it for concept design, sketches, outdoor sketching and whatnot, I generally, how good I am aside, I generally regard it as just sketching. And to a certain extent, giving it to somebody for a birthday gift brought the value back to me.
Did they like it?
Oh, they loved it. It's it is currently their Facebook avatar. And I mean, here, it's a second. Come on, you. So
Oh,
not my best, but it definitely made me it was very comforting to have me realize I wasn't quite as rusty as I thought at the time.
So I have in-laws coming in from out of town tomorrow. And
is that why you're cleaning house?
it's not the sole reason, but yeah, it's a major incentive for why we're cleaning the house. And I'm trying to, it was one of the reasons why I was taking a bunch of the stuff to the Goodwill. And it's just one of those tasks you just put off and put off and put off. And finally you go, okay, time to just head down to the Goodwill. And so I just didn't realize how many boxes that we had ready to go to the Goodwill until I started putting things in the car. I went, oh, my, looks like we're going to get that tax incentive, no problem this year. But tomorrow, I'm going to be going to the Seattle Art Museum and check. They've got one of the aunts is coming in. She does public art on a large scale. And so she's always interested in seeing anything that's at the art museums here. And her husband, who's retired, I think she's dragged him to enough art things that he's learned how to appreciate it. Or at the very least, go with the flow. Well, I am going to show you guys just how far this particular monster is coming along. Let's see. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Just a little bit more color onto those fills. The nose, I was hoping to do something with that red, but I'm thinking I'm just going to have to go in with this green on that nose because that's, well, the nose is reddish. I think that was overpowering it a little bit. That's actually better looking. But it's got these fairly, really red look. I might have to change those lips just look almost too clown red. But then again,
That's the original.
the original design, but it's just so garish. I mean, red and green, unless I get to a really strong contrast, I can always go back later. And I'm planning on putting a lot more whites on it to shine up the texture. That's my first layer. And I'll stop there. Speaking of stopping,
Yeah.
folks, believe it or not, it's almost 5:30. And again, my apologies for starting late. Virginia, if you would like me to put you on a mailing list so you can get notifications, you can always sign up via Eventbrite. But this is my name, Mark Monlux. If you could send me an email to markmonlux@comcast.net.
Okay, wait a minute. Of course, paper everywhere, but not one to write on. All right. Here it is. And there we go.
At comcast.net. And so anyone else listening, you can send me your emails, or I can email you a link where you can sign up directly. You can also go to our Facebook page where there should be a pinned notice that'll take you to our sign up page online. Thank you everybody for joining us this week, and I'll see you all next week.
You have time to do it?
Oh yes, absolutely. Oh, I see a sea turtle.
Yes. Well, it was a doodle, and I just decided to paint it.
This is hilarious. Bill, weren't we doing turtles a couple weeks ago? I know we were drawing frogs, cats. Well, we'll have to draw turtles next week.
Again, thank you very much, and I'll email you to sign up.
Okay, great. It's nice seeing you. Yes. Bye, Katie. Have fun this weekend. Bye, Bill.
Bye.